Hi, welcome to the channel. Please leave a like and subscribe to help out the channel. I'm going to show you how to install CentOS Linux and Ubuntu, which is also another Linux distribution, onto VirtualBox. So the first three things that you want to do is go into virtualbox.org or type into Google VirtualBox download, and it'll bring you to this page. You click on the downloads button, and then you will, just waiting on that, click on VirtualBox 6.0 builds, and then click on Oracle Linux 8 right here, and that will start downloading into your downloads folder. Just go ahead and run that and click like yes, next, finish. Yes, I accept the license agreement. Just accept all defaults, and it will chuck this VirtualBox icon on your desktop, and then open that when you're ready to go. From there, you want to go to ubuntu.com #download or ubuntu.com and click the download tab and click Ubuntu desktop. That will do the same thing. It'll start downloading here, and just hold on to that image for now. You don't need to open it. And then you want to go into CentOS Linux DVD ISO, which is in centos.org/download. Click this right here, and that'll download your DVD ISO for CentOS. This one's for Ubuntu, this one's for CentOS, this is for VirtualBox. Please pause the video and go ahead and do that now. Okay, I think you did that now. So what I'm going to do now is, this is VirtualBox. I'm going to create two virtual machines and prep them for the Linux distribution installs. So I need two machines. So the first one, I'm going to call it CentOS. Next, I'm going to give it, so right here I've got 16 gig of RAM, so I'm going to give this virtual machine 4.5 gig to run off. It's running off my RAM. I'm going to go ahead and create that. Click virtual hard drive. You're mainly just clicking through here and accepting all defaults. I'm going to crank this up because it gave me an error before saying it didn't have enough memory, but it's dynamically assigned anyway, so it'll automatically up it for you when you run out. Bam, done. That's one. That's one virtual machine ready to go. New, and I'm going to click Ubuntu. I'm going to call this Ubuntu. I'm going to click next. Same. You can, create VHD. You're basically just nexting. And crank that up. Create. Right, now you have two virtual machines ready to go. You're just sort of accepting all defaults. Now, before we go ahead and put the images in, click on, this is very important, click on Settings, Display, and turn this up to 100 meg. Otherwise, when you get in there and you try and turn the resolution up, it's going to just make it the lowest one and it won't let you go up. So Settings, Display, and you have to turn off the virtual machine to do this, otherwise, and then you'll have to go back in and restart it again. Just restart the machine, which is really not a big a deal. You can fix this at a later stage if you forget to do it right now. Right, we're ready to start our virtual machine. Start, normal start. Right click, start, normal start. Okay, I'm going to click cancel here because I'm not interested in that message. Cancel, same, I'm not interested in that message. Now, if you see these two right now, they are both missing operating systems. So those two DVD ISOs that we had before, the CentOS and the Ubuntu, we're going to now put them in. So this is like opening up a laptop that you've just completely wiped it and it has no operating system, no Windows 10, no Linux, no Mac, no nothing. So you click on Devices, Optical Drives, choose Disk Drives. So click on your Downloads folder. For me, I've saved into the desktop to make it a bit easier. So I'm going to input the DVD of Ubuntu in here that we've just downloaded before. Click Open. Now, if I go back in there, you'll see that that's ticked. So this is like closing a virtual CD drive, and it's seeing that CD is in there. Now I'm going to go over here and do the same thing for CentOS. Choose Disk Image, and CentOS, click Open, and you will see that that's ticked. So that thinks it's got a CD in there that says it's a CentOS DVD install, right? Now go to Machine, and this is ready to boot off the CD. Machine, reset, okay. Single click into your CentOS and click up once and click Install CentOS Linux. Okay, so now I've fasted forward the video a bit and cut out the loading. That should have taken a few, maybe just a couple minutes. So you go to English and select whatever language you want. So that's thinking and doing its thing. Now with the CentOS here, you want to click, the only thing you really want to click here is the only thing with the exclamation mark next to it. Installation, and just click done in the sector defaults that it's going to go with there. And click begin installation. Straight away here, you want to create your root password. Click done, and you want to create your username right off the bat because I heard this is hard to do later. So you want to get your root, at least get your root made, just to avoid any issues at a later stage. So that's going to keep installing. Over to Ubuntu over here, it's asking me if I want to try it or if I want to install it. I believe there's an option to partition your C drive and then go with some sort of dual boot process where you turn on your machine. It'll ask you if you want, Windows 10 or Ubuntu, but I'm just going to go ahead and go with a full install. So yeah, I'm just going to click continue there for the language. Now I want normal installation, and I do want to tick the box here for install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. Continue. Okay, right here it's saying this computer will, detects no operating system. This will erase your entire, basically your C drive, your whatever hard drive you're on right now. I'm on a virtual machine, so I'm not worried about that. If you are installing this over anything other than VirtualBox right now, you need to make sure you've backed up all your data. Install now. And it's telling you that it's going to do this, which will be basically installing it onto a hard drive, or in this case, a virtual machine hard drive. Okay, so I'm just going to accept the defaults. It's detecting that I'm there, so I'm going to click continue. It's asking me to create my user account and password. If you're wondering why I'm doing this twice, keep in mind that this is one virtual machine here, and this is one virtual machine here. So that's like having one laptop here and one laptop here. So if you're asking yourself why is he creating two accounts on the same thing, it's not. They're two different virtual machines. Just for the noobs out there. Okay, right now you're gonna get these notifications for reboot and restart now. So restart now with Ubuntu and restart with the CentOS. Okay, so right here, you're gonna get CentOS Linux saying, do you want to install CentOS or do you want to test it or what? And you got 50 seconds to reply, and you're going, hang on, I just installed it. So what you do there is you click on devices, optical drives, and you untick the CentOS. So this will be, NSA force on mount, yes, and then you restart the machine and click restart, because just then you've still got, okay, now you click enter on CentOS Linux to boot into that. So the reason that happened was it thought that your CD for CentOS was still in the virtual drive. So when you just click reboot, it just booted straight back in as if we went all the way back to the beginning. So for CentOS specifically, not so much Ubuntu, you do need to go back in here and remember to untick that box and then restart the machine. You've done nothing wrong, it's just that it prompts you like it's going to restart, as if you have, kind of. Now, into Ubuntu, please remove the installation media, then press enter, like we just did. Now, if you click on, hit Control to get out of that. If you click on Devices Optical Drives, it's actually already unticked for you. So CentOS doesn't do it for you, but Ubuntu does, even though it tells you to go and look for it and get rid of it. So I'm going to click enter there and let it reboot. At the same time, I'm going to go back over here to CentOS, and it says license information. So there's an exclamation mark there. So you're going to read this, and then you're going to click I accept the license agreement and click done. And then finish configuration. So that's going to reboot now. Okay, so both CentOS and Ubuntu are ready to be logged into. I know it looks small right now. I'll fix the display setting for you as soon as I get there. Right. So with CentOS, yep, I'm gonna click next on. I'm gonna click English Australian. Some people highly object to location services. I'm gonna leave them on. I'm running through a virtual private network anyway, so I don't mind. You can set this up if you like with your Google account and Facebook and things like that. I'm going to click skip. Start using CentOS Linux. I'm going to close this down because it's talking about, I don't know, it gives you a little tutorial there if you want to read that. I'm just going to close that down. So this is the CentOS background. It's very plain at the moment. What I'm going to do is click display settings, and I'm going to click this 800 by 600 and turn it up to the maximum resolution. I'm also going to click 200 just so it's a little easier for you to see, and then I'm going to click apply. And I'm going to click keep changes. So this is currently, okay, so now I'm going to click Control C, which will chuck it in a scaled mode. And I'm just going to drag this over here so it's a little bit nicer for you to see. And I'm going to close this window down. Now I'm going to go back over here and do the same thing with Ubuntu. So it says software updater. Software is ready for update. That's good. So I'm going to click X. Same situation. Set up your live patch. So you need to create an account there. I would recommend doing that actually, so you can get your patches installed, your security patches and all the things like that. Help improve Ubuntu. I don't think I have anything valuable to add, so I'm going to click no and click next. Location services I'm going to turn on and click next. This is for you to peruse when you're ready of all the software that you can download in either distribution really. They just have different photos. Yeah. So it says, do you want to install? I'm going to click, you should click install now, but I'm going to click remind me later so I can finish off the video tutorial. Now, I'm going to right click and click on display settings, same as before. And I'm going to click the highest resolution and click 200 so it's a little bit nicer for you to see. Keep changes. And now I'm going to hit Control C to go into scaled mode and click switch. Alright. So to compare these now side by side, this is what they look like. So you got CentOS here, which is a plain background, and the Ubuntu has a much nicer desktop background, and they've went ahead and installed things on the side here, even though these are both installed on both really. So I'm just going to review both right quick before we go any further, but I'll start with Ubuntu because it's a little bit more new. So for that, I'm going to now click Control F to go into full screen mode. Okay, so that's as big as it's getting. I know we've got space on the side here. It's a 4K screen, but that's as big as it's getting with the current resolution on VirtualBox only, because VirtualBox is using its virtual graphics card. It's not going off my primary graphics card, which would certainly make this a lot bigger. So a couple of things you want to do here when you get in here that I'll show you, and then you can go away and do this yourself just to get you started. There's just 3 or 4 things. So right click and click display settings, and you want to make that bigger. Secondly, you want to right click and go to settings. They're both roughly in the same place anyway. And you click on appearance. Now you can have light, standard. And this is the theme, or dark. I'm also going to turn the icon size up a lot bigger just to see it easier for you to see. Now that's just how the theme looks. Apart from that, you want to click on Ubuntu software, or also you want to click on show applications. So that's everything that is currently installed on this Ubuntu. So Ubuntu, okay, Linux in general, there is several hundred Linux distributions. Ubuntu is a Linux distribution. And CentOS is a Linux distribution. It's just a different type. So you've got several hundred distributions for the Linux. And you got Red Hat Enterprise Linux. You got, CentOS. You got Manjaro. You've got Kali Linux, or Linux Kali, or just called Kali, which is mainly for penetration testing and stuff like that. So there's hundreds of them. This one's just a little bit more popular because this Ubuntu is a little bit more popular because it's a little bit more user-friendly. It kind of looks like Mac. And Linux in general is very popular because it's a lot more secure. There's chances of you getting malware, which is a virus, or malicious code. Malware stands for malicious code on your Linux system is very slim because it's very secure because of how so operating systems in general are how does the operating system controls how does the software talk to your hardware, and with Linux everything is basically set up a lot more different. But anyway, to finish this off, the icons look really nice. You're better off to just come in here and have a play around yourself. Another thing with Linux everyone likes is it's called open source. So the operating system's open source and the applications and software are open source. That means open source means it's all free, and you can get the source code if you want. If you click on LibreOffice right here, so instead of you paying for Microsoft Office, you can get Linux, as I said, for open source for free, and you can get this version of, basically this is another version of Microsoft Word really, but it's Libreoffice Writer, and this is actually compatible with Microsoft Word files. So you can email yourself a Microsoft Word that you're working on, say, at work or on Windows 10 or something like that, and it will open here and you'll be able to use it. So that's another thing you can do is you can hit the Windows button in between your Control and your Alt, and that'll give you this option here to basically to multitask. Linux encourages multitasking, so I can open a couple of things here. I'll hit the Windows button again, and this thing pops up on the right. Do I want to go back to the desktop, or do I want to stay where I was? And that you can fill that right out. But if you're wondering what do you do after this video, after you installed everything, just go to Ubuntu software right here. This actually looks a little bit nicer on Ubuntu here than it does on the CentOS. The thing with CentOS is apparently CentOS is very, very similar to Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which is very popular for your major business corporations and medium-sized businesses. Is they use Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Apparently CentOS is very similar. So for some reason this is downloading right now, but I'm going to let that go, and so I'm going to get out of this and show you CentOS. So I'm going to hit Control-C, click Switch, go back in here, click one single click in here and hit Control-F. So this looks absolutely plain boring. If you click Change Background, then you've only got a couple of choices, and you just got different colors. If I go back into Ubuntu, right click, change background, you've got, I don't know why it doubles up there, but you've got some much more beautiful backgrounds to choose from. I'll just show you just this one right quick. So it's a really nice image. I'm going to hit Control F and go back here. So with this one you've just got single click here and hit Control F. With background here you've just got different colors, so it's not that attractive. Now you can either click up here or you can click the Windows button. I'm going to click Show Applications. It's the same feature as before. And now I'm going to click on Software. On Ubuntu it's called Ubuntu Software, but they're both essentially the same. So let's go shopping, like this, and it'll give you these categories. Now the difference between Ubuntu and CentOS, apart from the obvious different displays and graphics user interfaces, is both of them being two different distributions but both with Linux. Distributions have different packages installed. That's pretty much it. So there's nothing that you can get on Ubuntu that you can't get on CentOS. You can just make it happen later. Even the desktop backgrounds, just go in here and click on type in internet. All you can do is open Google in Firefox, and you can download this exact background if you want, or if not a better one, and you can make it look the same. You can also get a sidebar happening if you want to download that in the software. Right now it's giving me this because wired was off. I want to connect my internet, so you have to remember to do that here. With here, it was automatically connected for me. I'm just going to leave it at that to keep the video not too long. Really, it's nice to explore these sorts of things because Linux is quite popular worldwide. What else do we have in here? Yeah, that's all it's got there is just those things. And if I click here, there's more to choose from. So there's no reason why you can't get any of this, but you're better off to just come in here and click and have a little play around and see what you can install. But there's no reason why you can't get all of that on here as well. So I wouldn't be too biased against Ubuntu to CentOS, but it's true, this does look like a lot more user-friendly. It does look a little bit more like a Mac display. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Ciao.